How we doing there, boys and girls? Manthieus here, and welcome back to another video. So, big PTR update today, and one of the biggest things on most people's radar is the fact that we now have the first look at the brand new 9.2 free legendary belt, and we'll talk about why it's not necessarily free in a minute. We've kind of known for a little while that we're going to be getting the ability to use 2 legendaries in patch 9.2, but that second legendary is going to be restricted to our Covenant power. And more importantly, Blizzard have hinted to us previously that to make the whole process that little bit easier and a little bit more, user friendly, they're just going to give us a legendary that not only has that ability to it, but it will also freely swap depending on which Covenant you bounce to. One of the big advantages nowadays is that we can jump between covenants quite freely. The ripcord has been pulled, and that led to some problems, right? There was people out there that very quickly thought that, well, does that mean I need to craft 4 legendaries for each of the covenants? And no, this is not the way that we need to do it. So let me very quickly then introduce you to a guy called Vilo. He is the Enlightened Quartermaster out in Zereth Mortis. He is the dude that we're going to be getting all of the goodies from come patch 9.2. The reputation, the Enlightened, is the main faction in Zereth Mortis. This is the one that's going to be you're going to grind that rep out through doing your dailies by just spending time in Korthia. The usual rep grind system. But the 2 things that we're going to look at today, there is a lot to focus on from this dude. He sells lots of treasures. But the 2 we're going to look at today is the Clasp of Unity and the Memory of Unity. Now, this is the belt. The Clasp of Unity is the belt. This belt does differ ever so slightly between your different classes and your different specs. But at a fundamental level, it's your legendary belt. We can see that it's available at item level 265, which is interesting. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But it gives you the legendary effect, which is of that of your covenant. If you are to swap into a different covenant, this Clasp of Unity will shift itself and represent whichever that covenant ability then be. Now, there is another option for you guys out there. You can buy the Memory of Unity. This memory does require you to be revered before you can pick it up off these guys. But the Memory of Unity will allow you to take that to the Rune Carver and allow you to recraft this Unity power, but importantly, on something else. If you wish to relocate that ability to another legendary of your choice, whether it suits you better for it to be in the helm or the legs, or you want to put it on a ring, whatever the case may be, the normal legendary crafting rules will apply. So this becomes very handy. Now, at the moment, the Clasp of Unity doesn't have a reputation requirement, but that is because it's the PTR. This is purely for testing purposes. It's understood that we won't be able to pick this up until you are revered with the Enlightened. So you are going to have to do some rep grinding if you want to just be able to go to this dude and buy that legendary belt. Now, this has caused uproar because many people had got it into their head that Zereth Mortis was a completely optional zone, that there was no player power going to be locked behind it, and that wasn't actually what Blizzard stated. They stated that the Cypher system was probably not going to have any player power locked behind it. They didn't speak so broadly as to say Zereth Mortis as a whole. So, Raiders, anybody that wants this easy to acquire legendary, you're gonna have to get your butt into Zereth Mortis nice and quick as soon as the patch launches and start grinding out that reputation. So this is one of those scenarios where we can look at it from 2 different perspectives if we're a crafter. Most of the audience here on my channel is goblins. We are people that like to, craft things, sell things. How is this going to affect us? And there's 2 different possibilities I see with this. In Blizzard's effort, firstly, in Blizzard's effort to make this system easier, by giving us the ability to take a belt, there is a huge percentage of the player base that will do just that. They'll grind up the reputation, they'll come here, they'll buy the belt, they'll be happy with it at 265, and they'll be chilling, they'll be good, they'll be golden. They won't feel the need to craft that second legendary. There is, though, the other side of the coin. The other side of the coin is that, well, there is a huge percentage of the player base that likes to focus towards Abyssless. They like to play the meta. They like to feel as if they're doing everything in their power to be competitive. And I'm quite sure the Sims will turn around and say that, well, actually, having this power on the belt is not really super beneficial for some classes. The way that this could integrate itself with the new tier sets, to me, gives the impression that players are probably going to want to put this power on a higher item level bit of gear, and they're going to want it to be in a higher stat slot, something like the chest or the helm or the legs, something that holds a lot more main stats on it. One thing that is to note with this is the Clasp of Unity. When you buy it from this vendor, firstly it has the heroic tag to indicate that it's a piece of gear of similar quality as a heroic raiding piece of gear. It doesn't seem to have its item level representative of that of a regular legendary. Now, we already know that rank 6 is currently at item level 262, so this is only 3 item levels higher than a current rank 6. As of today, as of recording this, this information may change in the future. In fact, it absolutely will change, but we don't know when. We don't necessarily know exactly what item level a rank 7 legendary is going to be. We know we craft them, we roughly know how we craft them. We have to get this Tome of Eternal, which is also a reward from these guys. And then the jewel crafters, the leather workers, the tailors and the blacksmiths have to make the base legendary item for you to then take that and get it turned into a regular legendary. We know how that works now. It's been the same throughout the entire expansion. But what we don't quite know is how this is going to integrate with a rank 7 legendary, especially if those rank 7 legendaries are considerably higher in item level. This is going to mean that if, say for example, it's theory crafted at this moment that rank 7 legendaries could be as high as item level 290. Now, if that's the case, very quickly, for a lot of the player base, that 265 is just not going to be good enough. They may want to look to upgrade this to a higher item level. There is a strong possibility that this will just be its own unique item, and if you craft it with a unit, if you craft it using the memory of Unity, it will follow the same legendary rules. You could probably even go as far as to put it on a 190 rank 1, I would guess. And so that even your alts, soon as they ding 60, even if people are crafting rank 1s just for the power, I don't know, maybe you're strapped for cash. Maybe that's an option for you, because, you know, rank 1s are basically free on the auction house if you take a look. But I would imagine very quickly that players will want to do different things with this. So what can I summarize from all of this information? Well, firstly, I can summarize one thing. Legendary sales are going to be massive in patch 9.2. All the existing ranks of legendaries, and more importantly, in all of the existing slots, are very much likely to sell like hotcakes. Without question, you give people the ability to craft 2 legendaries, or to equip 2 legendaries, I should say. People are going to want to do just that. And more importantly, people are going to want to min-max it more often than not as well. That being said, legendary crafting is going to be pretty interesting in patch 9.2. And now that we're starting to get some of the information turn up on the patch 9.2 PTR, we can start to theory craft this a little bit. The final thing I want to touch on, which is another element of confusion, is this Cosmic Flux material. This is the first time we've seen this on the PTR, but we've kind of been aware of its presence prior to this. Cosmic Flux is going to be another currency, because we do love a good currency in this game. It's going to be another currency that we're going to use for a couple of different things. We already know it's going to be used for upgrading regular pieces of gear into tier set pieces of gear. So this Cosmic Flux instantly becomes pretty valuable, especially if you're trying to hunt down, you know, that full set of gear, so you can mix and match to keep that full set bonus alive at all times. We now know that it's going to be used to purchase these 2 items in the first place. And we also have the indication from Blizzard that this Cosmic Flux is also going to be what is used to upgrade to your rank 7 legendary in the first place. So, what I can definitely say for a fact is that this Cosmic Flux is going to be quite a rare resource, and it's going to be quite valuable to people. Meaning, spending 2,500 of it on a piece of gear that you may potentially want to upgrade anyway may not be that attractive to a lot of the players. This seems to be very, very, very focused towards your casual player that does a little bit of raiding, maybe a little bit of Mythic Plus, maybe some world content, or more importantly, maybe alts to get them up quite quickly later on in the patch. I do not believe that this item is going to be that attractive to people that, you know, they do progress raiding, they're pushing mythic keys, or they're trying to be overly competitive in PvP. The more competitive of the player base, I don't think is going to be that attracted by this Clasp of Unity. They're going to be looking to buy the memory, and they're going to be looking to put it on another piece of gear. Good news for us crafters though, right? Good news for us crafters, because that means more base legendary sales. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. This is, as I said at the beginning of this video, still early days for the PTR in my opinion. There are some speculations to when we should see the patch launch. Some people are saying the 8th of February, which I think is very early. The 15th of February is a good guesstimation, but it would not surprise me if it's even the week after, which I think would be the 22nd, or even then the 1st of March. By the way that things are looking, we don't really know anymore. But all I can say is that we're getting there. We're starting to get the answers. So make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Now I'm going to go into full gear when it comes to PTR updates and information, as we're starting to get the full picture a lot more frequently. I've been quite shy about PTR footage on the channel so far, but that is for the reason that I want to make sure that I can give you the information when we know that it's pretty solid. We know most things about this, or at least enough to start covering it. So hit the sub button if you haven't already. Drop your comments down below what you think about these new legendaries, about the new Unity belt. Are you going to craft it and be happy with it on the belt, or are you going to be more inclined to pick up the memory and craft it somewhere else? That is what I would be really interested to hear from you. But if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. I'll stop shamelessly plugging now. I'll see you guys next time in a bit. Peace.